Nev, in this 3TW, we are exploring LinkedIn. You are, of course, the author of Sales Success on LinkedIn. And one of the interesting discussions that abounds is endorsements versus recommendations. Two bits that feature heavily on most people's profiles.
Yeah.
But they seem to do two very different things, and for two different reasons. What's your view on these?
Okay, well, there's two bits there, and let's cover off endorsements first, because they seem to cause the most confusion. Endorsements, in principle, were a brilliant idea by LinkedIn. The endorsement was there where, as an individual in my profile, I select some of the key skills that I feel I have. So I say, these are the things that I think I'm good at, and what LinkedIn allowed people to do was to endorse me. So they may not have had any work delivered by me directly, they might just know me in a business capacity and know that I'm good at a particular thing, and they click a little button to say, yes, I can endorse Neville for public speaking or whatever it might be. That was really useful. But what LinkedIn started to try and do was use an algorithm to think, well, actually, if Neville selected that skill, perhaps he has these skills around here. And what ended up where it starts suggesting skills that people could endorse you for, and because of the widening nature of our connections, we've ended up with situations where people are being endorsed for things they don't necessarily do by people they don't necessarily know. So the endorsements seem to have lost a bit of their impact, and while they're useful, they top out at 99 when you've 99 people have endorsed you for a particular skill. You can move them around, you can prioritize them, but most folks that we speak to, the anecdotal and some of the research seems to point in this direction, that folks don't pay much attention to the endorsements. They don't seem to add much value or weight to how we perceive a profile. To flip that over and talk about probably the more important bit, I just want to go back. You mentioned at the start of 3TW about the fact I've published a book on LinkedIn, Sales Success on LinkedIn. If I sat here and said I'm absolutely brilliant and I'm the go-to expert on LinkedIn, not many folks respond to that particularly well, because it's me, and why would you trust me if you think that there's an underlying reason why I'm saying these things? And if you think about this from a face-to-face perspective, if you try and tell a potential client about how great you are, they don't always trust and believe what you say. Where that trust and belief really comes into play is where they see case studies, where they see endorsements, where you've been recommended in by a third party that they might have some trust or belief in. And that's why recommendations, the written recommendation on LinkedIn, is so powerful. If you take a third party, because you can't generate these recommendations yourself, if you take a third party and you can demonstrate you've been recommended by them, that gives a lot of power and store in terms of the trust, the credibility piece that comes with engaging people on LinkedIn. But what a lot of people fail to recognize is actually giving recommendations can also build trust. If I'm to give recommendations out that are genuine, heartfelt, and are there for a real business reason, just to compliment on how good some of our suppliers are, that's a way of me demonstrating my credibility within the business marketplace, that I'm prepared to recognize those who do a good job for us and provide them a written testimonial, this written recommendation on LinkedIn to go out and get that. So what I'd say is, when it comes to the endorsements, don't worry about them. When it comes to recommendations, stop and think, well, actually, who could you provide a nice written testimonial to? Because giving recommendations is a great place to start. Don't try and do that so you swap. So if I give you a recommendation, I'm not looking for a recommendation back. That's not what I'm talking about. If I genuinely think you've done a great job for something, I should give you a recommendation. And equally, if you have customers who've done if you've done a brilliant job for customers who absolutely love what you do, then why not just say to them, listen, as part of our growing our network, growing our connections, I would love to receive a recommendation on LinkedIn, and ask them face to face, ask them over the phone, then send them a request on LinkedIn saying, please can you recommend me, and build those recommendations, that build that trust, that build the credibility, so when somebody else lands on your profile, they can instantly see just how brilliant a job you do and how satisfied your customers are.